Welcome to another spine-tingling episode filled with true tales of terror just in time for the holidays. Tonight we'll hear the bone-chilling details of 3 real-life Thanksgiving horror stories as told by those unlucky enough to have experienced them. The unexpected guests. Our first story comes from a family whose attempt at holiday charity went frightfully awry. As the first drops of rain began to fall outside the Stevens family home, young Billy stared impatiently out the window, awaiting the arrival of his grandparents for their annual Thanksgiving dinner. Right at 5 p.m., a pair of headlights cut through the thickening gloom, signaling their arrival. Braving the intensifying downpour, Billy raced outside, grabbing hold of the turkey centerpiece to shield Nana from the stormy onslaught. Safely inside at last, the family settled into their usual holiday roles. Billy perched before the TV, fixated on the Cowboys game, as Nana fussed about in the kitchen. Before long, the spreads of glistening turkey, honey-glazed ham, mashed potatoes, and pumpkin pie lined the table. As the family gathered round to say grace, an unexpected knock came from the front door. Now, who could that be in such nastiness? Billy's mother Marie wondered aloud. She glanced nervously toward the driveway, noticing his father's car missing, fearing he might have turned up unannounced. As the only man present that evening, the task of answering the door fell to Billy. Peering cautiously through the curtain first, he noticed a lone figure in a dripping rain slicker, pacing impatiently on the porch. Muffled pleas for food could be heard between thunderous cracks. Nana's heart softened immediately, urging Billy to provide the stranger a warm plate. His mother still seemed hesitant, but gave her blessing, on one condition: that he first identify the peculiar guest. Cracking open the storm door just an inch, Billy called out politely for a name. Suddenly, a burly fist burst through the narrow opening, trying desperately to force its way inside. Taken aback, the boy summoned all his might to push the arm back as his mother and older sister came racing to help bar the entryway. As the door slammed shut, lightning flashed, revealing not one, but 3 menacing figures approaching from the driveway. The family stood frozen in terror as the intruders jostled ferociously with the locked front door, until flashing red and blue lights appeared, signaling the intruders' hasty retreat. Though the sinister strangers vanished into the darkness, for the Stevens their sense of security and holiday cheer had been utterly washed away by the storm. The social media stalker. Now on to our second spine-tingling story, a holiday stalking that followed one girl from the dinner table to her own bedroom. Melissa stared down at the notification lighting up her phone. One new message from an unknown number. She glanced around the Thanksgiving table, smiling at the familiar faces of the family, before stepping away to investigate the message further. What she read sent a chill down her spine. The chilling words, intricately detailing her outfit, her family members in attendance, and the layout of her parents' home, could only have come from one sinister source. Kevin, the obsessive dating app match she had blocked months prior after his messages and behavior became aggressively threatening. She had met him online over a year ago, and after a few casual dates, alarm bells began to sound. Constant calls and texts at all hours, suspicions about any male friends, showing up unannounced claiming he was in the neighborhood. The barrage only intensified when Melissa finally worked up the nerve to cut things off. Menacing late-night phone calls and fake social media profiles used to surveil her, refusing to accept rejection. His harassment persisted so strongly that she feared she may never be free of him. The sight of his name flashed on her phone that Thanksgiving evening made her blood run cold. While her family laughed merrily in the next room, the contents of his twisting message made reality feel like a living nightmare. He mentioned her hair looking nicely styled, though it would look better to run his hands through it. Her form-fitting sweater caught his eye as well, and he imagined peeling it off her after everyone had gone to bed. And why lock her bedroom door each night? He vowed to change that. Their love should have no obstacles. Repulsed, Melissa blocked the new number, though she knew it was only a temporary solution. Her anxiety followed her all through the remainder of the holiday, from pumpkin pie to late-night leftovers. Melissa bid her family farewell around 10 p.m., hoping an early night's sleep would calm her rattled nerves. The sight of her cozy, dark apartment should have comforted Melissa as she entered shortly after 10:30 p.m., but thoughts of Kevin's sick intentions flooded her mind. She triple-checked the lock on her front door and windows before changing into pajamas. As she crawled beneath the covers to unwind with a silly Christmas comedy, a noise at her bedroom door made her heart stop. The knob jiggled menacingly, as if by someone testing to see if it would open. Melissa froze, waiting, wondering if she had imagined the sound. The jiggling resumed, more violent now. Terrified, she let out a scream just as she heard faint footsteps leading away, the would-be intruder escaping unseen into the shadowy hallway. Hands shaking, Melissa dialed her father, who agreed to rush right over. But in just those few horrific moments of waiting helplessness, Melissa knew with chilling certainty that Kevin had found her, and next time a locked door might not keep him out. The trespassers. Now on to our final tale of Thanksgiving terror, a lakeside gathering taken hostage by unwelcome surprise visitors. Our final frightening tale transports us to the faded wooden walls of Uncle Ben's remote lake house on a rain-soaked Thanksgiving Eve. "Dad, who is that?" young Timmy whispered, breaking the festive chatter. All eyes turned to follow the boy's shaken gaze towards the tree line, where a lone, shadowy figure stood staring back from across the murky water. Uncle Ben leaped up, anger already flowing through his veins, courtesy of one too many holiday cocktails. "Hey! This here's private property!" he bellowed into the wind. The stoic shape didn't flinch. Ben's rage only intensified as he stormed off the back deck, leaving his startled family in wake. But just before reaching the stranger, the trespasser spun and vanished into the dark forest. Laughing dismissively at the bizarre encounter, Ben ambled back to the picnic table just as Aunt Mary noticed another interloper lurking behind a nearby shed. "Who are these people?" Mary asked, clutching her sweater tight to her chest. Before Ben could fully react, the second stranger disappeared too. Despite Uncle Ben's drunken insistence that everything was fine, cold fear had gripped the family. As daylight dwindled into an ominous dusk, each new sighting of the trespassers lurking in the darkness ratcheted up the tension. Squinting toward the tree line, Timmy could make out shifting silhouettes that seemed to surround the lake house property on all sides. Several men peered out from the brush, ducking behind buildings when caught staring too long. No matter how loudly Ben yelled into the night, the strangers never dared approach or speak. Their unrelenting presence held everyone hostage with creeping dread. Young Timmy whimpered softly, pulling his dad's arm tight as the last traces of sunlight faded away. Darkness now engulfed the lakeside retreat, leaving the family huddled wide-eyed beneath a single porch light. Strange cracks and thumps echoed from the darkness as flashlights glowed ominously through the trees. "Why are they just standing there watching us?" Timmy asked through trembling lips. The question that had tortured them for hours now seemed impossible to answer. As hands nervously clutched wine glasses inside, the panic reached a fever pitch when a heavy, aggressive thud echoed from the front door. The family froze. Young Timmy's screams sent Aunt Mary into terrified tears. Uncle Ben desperately dialed 911, only to find the landline had gone eerily dead. "My God, they've cut the phone lines," Aunt Mary cried. Mere seconds later, a jagged brick came sailing through the front window, tied to a note reading, "Leave now or else." Shadowy figures pressed sinisterly against the fractured glass, voices rising in malicious laughter. The sadistic mob was now only inches away. Although sirens soon pierced the distance to scatter the ruthless intruders, an unshakable chill lingered in their wake. Police swept the area but found no trace except scattered leaves and broken glass. No clues turned up on the identities or motives of the horrifying holiday visitors. Why target Uncle Ben's remote family gathering? How did they manage to sever the phone line so swiftly? Most alarmingly, where did the malicious mob vanish so easily? To this day, those daunting unanswered questions still linger like ghosts over Uncle Ben's family, haunting their once idyllic lake house doorstep. And though swift repairs and replacements erased all visible signs of that traumatic Thanksgiving night, the deeper scars of lost security and innocence could never be reclaimed. In the end, those phantom strangers stole far more than broken windows and severed phone lines. They forever ransacked the family's sense of refuge, comfort, and trust that holidays at the lake house had always promised. While we may never unravel the full chilling truth behind this final Thanksgiving tale, one deeper thread of terror links all these stories tonight. The sinister evil that lurks inside those dark woods, Behind that block number, past that rattling doorknob, creeps in without warning to twist our most sacred havens into horror. We hope you are sufficiently disturbed by these creepy, true tales. If you'd like more terrifyingly true stories delivered right to your nightmares, be sure to smash that subscribe button. Now we bid you farewell into the darkness until next time.